Hello, and welcome to another virtual author chat at the Poison Pen Bookstore. I'm John Charles, and I'm delighted to have back with me one of my favorite authors, Sheila Roberts, whose new book, Sand Dollar Lane, comes out in April. Before we begin, I would like to let those tuning in know that we will have copies of Sheila's book available at the Poison Pen. So if you'd like to have us put one in the mail to you or hold one at the store to pick up, please feel free to give us a call or go online, and we would be happy to help you meet all of your Sheila Roberts reading needs. And now, without further ado, I'd like to welcome back Sheila Roberts.
It is so good to be back. And we kind of have a bit of a mutual admiration society because I am madly in love with John Charles. My husband knows, so it's okay. But anyway, you're just one of my favorite people, John. And one of the things I appreciate about you is you're such a champion of writers. And that's so important, and especially the romance and women's fiction genre, which sadly to say still is kind of snubbed sometimes and kind of looked down on, like, you write that? It's like, well, yes, we do, and we're very proud of it. So anyway, it's nice to have an advocate.
Well, thank you. That's very nice of you to say. My first question, and you've had this question before, but we'll revisit it, is I always like to know about who a person was who, before they became an author, their origin story. And if I'm understanding things correctly, in your case, the world of music's loss was the world of writing's gain.
Something like that. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I really, it's interesting because I was writing stories when I was a little kid, but I was also trying to write little songs. And I think sometimes most people, if you kind of have that creative bent, in fact, I think we all have a creative bent in one area or the other that pops out some way. But I really wanted to be a songwriter. Music was my thing. I performed, I sang in choirs, I had a singing telegram company. I worked my way through college as a singing waitress. And so I just did all these ham bone things. And I just really wanted to write songs for a living, and trips to Nashville, all kinds of stuff. And the doors just never opened. And I do believe that sometimes that is for a reason. I just think that our lives, if we're willing and open and looking for the direction we're supposed to go, we do get guided in that direction. I do believe that God's got a purpose for all of us, and you end up where you're supposed to be. So even though I wanted to be a songwriter and be living in Nashville, I just didn't quite ever make that happen, although I still tried and get down there every once in a while, hoping to now that we're about through with COVID here, hoping to get to Nashville again soon. And just, in a way, it's not good because it's like a former drug addict going, I want my drug. It makes me just all itchy to be a songwriter again. But there you have it. I will say though, I have finally in my old age got a cut on an album. And this was several years back when my book Merry Xmas came out. We did wrote a fun country song and did a music video. It's still up there on YouTube. If you ever search for Merry Christmas Mama, you'll see me in my brown hair days and getting hauled off by Santa Claus. And we had so much fun. It was one of the most fun things I ever did, making that music video. So it was fun. But having said all that, I am just really happy that I wound up where I did. And I love being a writer. It's great. You meet fabulous people. You get a chance to tell stories, make stuff up. I mean, how cool is that to make stuff up for a living, So I'm not going to complain.
What was your initial path to publication like?
This is so bizarre. I really stumbled into it. We had some kind of lean years when we were first married, and I had a girlfriend who was a romance writer. And I got this idea. I thought, it'd be really fun to write something set in the Regency era about like a Lady Robin Hood, a lady thief who just, thinks she's doing this noble thing. And wouldn't that be a fun book? And I thought I should tell my friend about that. And then I went, I need money. Maybe I will just write this myself. And so I wrote this book, didn't really have a clue what I was doing. Wrote that. This friend kind of helped me. We looked through what was that? Remember that big fat book that told you
Writer's Market?
Writer's Market. Looked through Writer's Market and went, I picked an agent. I mean, it was such a stumble bumble, and the agent picked me up and sold my book. And so I just completely stumbled into my writing career. But I do have this theory, everybody thinks, it's so easy to write a book. And it's really easy to talk about writing a book. Sometimes the actual doing it and then selling it and then trying to get a career, that's a bit of a different animal. And I do believe in this business, you will pay your dues at some point. You will either pay it at the beginning of your career at the middle of your career or at the end of your career. But at some point, every author is going to have a struggle or a stumble. And so I started out great and then had a couple of stumbles. I had to crash my career a couple of times and rename myself. I just keep going, just like Cher. I just keep reinventing myself. And but it was a very interesting, like I said, a very interesting and kind of easy, and I don't have a clue what I'm doing beginning. And then I just sort of learned as I went along. So
Well, it's apparent that you've apparently mastered it because you've got more than 50 books to your credit and counting. Let's talk a little bit about your new book that's coming, Sand Dollar Lane. What can you tell those listening in about this book?
well, I think it's a fun book for sure. It's based in good old Moonlight Harbor, which is based on the town of Ocean Shores, Washington, one of the coastal towns on Washington. And it's just a fun little town. I thought, oh, I'd love to write a beach series and set it in a funky town. And of course, I looked around and went, oh, here's the town. So anyway, this book is set in Moonlight Harbor. It's, if anybody's been following this series, you know, we've kind of had a bit of a love triangle going on. And, you know, in every love triangle, eventually there is a loser. And so my poor little love loser needed a story of his own. So the man about town is going to get his own little romance here. And it's fun. It's kind of like this warring pair that they're competing for the real estate market and doing all these crazy things. And lo and behold, their kids fall for each other. And so now we have like the Montagues and the Capulets, the comedy version with, you know, how's this all going to work out? We hate each other and our kids are in love. And so anyway, and of course, both couples have their share of baggage to bring that they have to work out. And trying again at love, you know, when you've kind of fallen on your face is not an easy thing to do. So I think I've given my poor couple enough baggage, but also a happy ending. I don't know about you. Do you like sad endings, John Charles?
No, well, I mean, no, I really don't, if I'm going to be honest. I mean,
Okay.
I've read books where I've cried, but I want the ending to be happy.
Yeah, I don't mind some tears along the way, but I'm going, you know, life is tough enough.
Yeah.
Why do I want to read something that's going to depress me and want me to go drink the poison Kool-Aid? I can't see it. You know, and even the case with like mysteries, of course, the poison pen. Mysteries are your thing. And we love a good mystery, but you want justice. In a mystery, you want the bad guy caught. We all have that sense of justice and we want things to be right. We want people to get the happiness they worked so hard for. And that's kind of my promise to readers. I'm, you know, may have a few stumbles on the way for the characters, but they're going to get the ending that they deserve. Happy.
Yes. Now, Moonlight Harbor is the setting for your new series, which includes Sand Dollar Lane. What is it, do you think, that so many readers love about the beach? Why does it call to you as a setting, as a
I
writer?
know, gosh. You know, I think when we think of beach, well, we think of Hawaii and we just think paradise. We think you're on vacation, life is good, no problems, Makuna Matata or whatever that was from the movie, and life will be good. Life's good at the beach. That's one of the things I often sign my books with because it is. And my family, when I was growing up, had my dad was in real estate, as a matter of fact, and had found way back when you could actually get some bargains, and he'd found some property on Bainbridge Island, which is an island across from Seattle, a very popular place to live now, but way back when it was strawberry farms and summer cabins. And we had our little cabin, didn't even have indoor plumbing, but we would go over there every summer and I'd play on the beach. And you'd, of course, you would walk on the tide flats and you'd look for sand dollars and you'd collect shells and you'd make rafts and you'd try and swim. And Puget Sound up here in Washington is not warm swimming water. So you'd like go in for like one, you know, how long can I last here for 2 minutes in this water? You know, and so I think for me, the beach is just happy memories. I was really blessed with a good childhood. I had kind of a beaver cleaver childhood and life was idyllic. And so when I go to the beach, it just brings back all these great memories. And we go to the beach all the time, you know, here doing Ocean Shores or Moonlight Harbor. So I think for a lot of people, often we think of the beach and you do think it's fun, it's escape. If I'm going to read a beach read, I'm going to read a really fun, cool escape.
Now, the other kind of thread to the story is the whole business rivalry in the case of real estate agents. Why real estate? What made you choose that particular business as the
Well, for one thing, my hero happened to be a realtor. And this is a kind of the enemies to lovers trope, where we start, I hate you. And then realize, oh, maybe I don't hate you so much after all. And so I thought it would be really nice for this guy to have a rival. So along comes, and I love my character, Lucy. She's just fun. She's just, she's, I thought my poor woman, how she discovers her husband's cheating on her. That was very fun to write. It was not fun for Lucy to experience, but it was fun for me to write. So she goes through this, and I'm going to make a new start, and I'm going to, go to Moonlight Harbor, and I'm going to sell real estate. And I just thought that would be a fun thing to have some clash between these two. If here's this guy, he's in real estate, and oh my gosh, I've been king of the hill all this time, and now this upstart, comes to town, and she's doing all these things to just, cut me out. And she's, every time I turn around, she's, beating me out of something. And I just thought that was a kind of a fun way to have the plot go. So that's partly why real estate. And plus, I'm a real estate junkie. I really am. I'm always looking on Zillow. We just, as a matter of fact, we've been doing condo living for several years, and we just went from a condo to a house, a beach house. And it is so on the beach, John Charles, I cannot tell you, it's on its own little peninsula. It's like, oh, out there. So it's very fun. And so, yeah, real estate, that's kind of one of my addictions. I'm trying to, it's rather an expensive addiction. So I'm trying to kick the habit here and simplify my life.
Lucy is a terrific protagonist. And I think what I love about her and what is emblematic of romance fiction heroines, women's fiction heroines, is she's got, as Lou Grant said to Mary Tyler Moore, gumption. I mean, she's been hit with some challenging things in her life. Her marriage is dissolving. She's dealing with a child who doesn't necessarily understand what's going on with her parents, but she doesn't, sit in the corner and cry. She picks herself back up and makes a new life for herself.
I think that's one of the things I like, because in most romances, the heroine has some gumption and is determined to overcome the obstacles in her life. And I've written several heroines like that, one coming out of an abusive relationship. And I just think it's important, for me anyway, I want to be able to inspire readers. If somebody's going through a hard time, to understand that this does not have to define your life. Whatever this hard thing you're going through, you can overcome it. You can get out of it. If you're in an abusive relationship, you can leave. You're worth more than what you're going through, kind of thing. And we all have setbacks in life, but I think we all have the capability to pull out of them. Sometimes we need some help from friends. Sometimes, we need to readjust our focus. But I'm a big believer in, if you've fallen down, don't lay there in the mud. You can get up, you can do this. And so I hope that this book and some of the other ones that I write inspire readers as they read them to go, gosh, I wonder if I could do that too, and then to maybe get out there and make some changes in their life.
I think another common theme to many of your books is an appreciation for food. And we get that in this book, but you also love to share recipes with your readers, whether it's in your books or through your website. What is this connection for you that you see between food and your books and characters?
Golly, well, I think because we all like to eat. I like to eat. I'm still trying to send my COVID poundage. So we're doing the countdown to this cruise, and I'm just, I'm feeling really sorry for myself because I can't bake anything. So I'm just, I'm going berserk. And I feel like I must be cheating more than I realize, because I keep looking in the mirror going, why do I still look like a Teletubby? I mean, I'm really trying to lose the weight here, and it's still not coming off. Anyway, I'm digressing as usual. So getting back to food, I think we all love food. I think a lot of us love to bake. I mean, I bet you're on Instagram sometimes looking at the cool recipes somebody's showing, and oh man, I have enough cake recipes that I could start my own bakery. It's like, so it's just, food is comfort for most of us. And again, food is memories. I remember as a kid, I don't know, were there bakers in your family?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you're going to identify with this. I know. I would come home from school to the smell of chocolate chip cookies my mom had been baking. And so to me, cookies say love. And so I'm always wanting to, and my friends, a lot of my friends like me should be not eating the cookies. And my husband's always saying, you're killing your friends, quit baking stuff. But it's like, it's really hard to get past that mentality because cookies for love, and food. I mean, when you want to have somebody over, you usually have them for a meal, and so food is just so much of a part of our culture, our life, and how we have communicate with each other and have fun together and interact. So I just think it's fun to include those in the books because I think, like me, a lot of people really do like to collect recipes. So yeah, I'd like to, in those of the Moonlight Harbor ones, we've always put in a recipe.
In addition to Moonlight Harbor, you've written some other series. As an author, do you always know when you start a series how long it's going to run? Do you sometimes get surprised by different elements in that world that you've created? How do you keep things straight in your own mind? Like by book 6, how do you remember the name of the person that owns the pharmacy or whatever it is?
Oh, it's so hard. And I have messed things up. I'm going to tell a tale on myself. I'm hoping for future publications we fix this, but in Moonlight Harbor, there is this little coffee shop that has books. And it's now I'm even going, which one is it? Beans and Books.
Yeah.
But it'll get reversed sometime. I'll read one book. Now it's Books and Beans. Oh, now it's, oh no, and those are things, I know as a reader, and God bless my readers, because they will, one lady in fact found a little boo-boo in my last Christmas book that I really appreciated. But, when you're in the throes of writing the thing, you just have these brain blip moments, and it's really hard to catch. We have editors, we have copy editors, we have readers, all before things get on the bookshelf, and just mistakes sometimes slip through. So it can be really hard. For Moonlight Harbor, I have a bit of a Moonlight Harbor Bible with my characters listed and my towns, and it would be nice if I would remember to consult that. But anyway, I really do try hard to stay consistent, but it gets hard. And the more books you write, it's just easy to make a mistake. So keeping track of everything can be a bit of a challenge. And as far as when books end, the Icicle Falls series, I think my publisher said, okay, now we want you to go on to something new, time for a new adventure. So we went to the beach, and I've got another, after this book, I'll have another beach book coming out, and then we'll see what happens after that. Part of me is thinking, well, maybe I want to just write some standalone books too. I have no idea. It's kind of like the advantage of being an author. The possibilities are endless. There are all kinds of ways that you can go. But I am enjoying this series. It's really fun. I'm liking it a lot.
That's great. Well, just so you don't feel too bad about yourself, I think it's a Middle Eastern philosophy, but I remember hearing how when they weave the rugs and things like that, they always put in a small defect.
Really?
Yes, because in their mind, only God can make something perfect. So everything they have to have has to have a little tiny error somewhere to show their respect.
I love that. So, that makes me feel better. Thank you.
There you go. This is just you showing your respect for the universe and a higher power.
Oh, there you go. Oh, and I got probably the worst mistake I ever made. This was in an older book called Small Change. And I loved that book. I did one I'd done for St. Martin's Press. But I had, and again, as you're writing along, sometimes you change your mind or you forget what you've done. I was way too young to make that mistake back then. I don't know what that was about. But anyway, I had this character named Rachel. And early on, so I get this letter from one of my readers. She goes, Sheila, I'm really confused. In one part of the book, Rachel has this deadbeat sister, and then later she's an only child. What can I say? I said, what can I say? She killed her sister. I mean, it was just, oh, so embarrassing. I was like, oh, I don't believe I did that. But again, things get past you. So here I am. I am making excuses for myself and all my writer friends, guys. So when you do see mistakes, just remember, think of the rug and think of us. We're just reminding you that we're human. But it's okay to let us know when you find mistakes, because it's always good to try and correct them.
There you go. Let's talk about your writing process a little bit, because I know many people are fascinated by that. When you start a book, do you always know exactly how it's going to fall? Do you have no clue? Do you? How does it work for you?
I really do like to, of course, anytime you start something, you're starting with an idea, with just a gem of an idea. Like this one, oh, my guy needs his own story. I mean, that's where it starts. It's as small as that. Well, who would be a perfect person for him? And then you kind of go from there. But I do like to, I try and have my whole book fleshed out, so I know where I'm going. I'm not what they call a seat of the pants person. I don't want to go flying off into the sky and see what happens, because I know when you go flying off in the sky without instruments, you can like run into mountains and crash and bad things happen. And I just want to know that I'm going to land someplace safely. So I have what I call the skeleton of the book, kind of the basics, plots. Here's kind of what's going to happen. And if I have, I'll add body to that and maybe veer here and there, change the nose, change the eyes or whatever. But the basics of where my story is going to go, I like to know ahead of time. That way I feel like for me anyway, it's a big waste of time if I write a bunch of pages and go, oh, that was wrong. It's like knitting a sweater and you have to tear out half the stitches. And that's just frustrating. So I'd rather get the stitches kind of in place before I start, so I know where I'm going. So anyway, that's me.
What do you think is the most important tool an author can have in their literary toolbox? For you, what is the most important tool?
Wow. Boy, now that is a hard question. I think perhaps knowledge. And by that, I mean, it's exciting to dive in and start a writing career, but you should always be learning. You should always be reading. I studying other authors. I was always, especially early in my career, I was always at the library checking out any book on writing that I could find, because it's a learning experience, and hopefully you want to keep continuing to learn and grow. And you can't write a good book if you're not learning and growing, I don't think. So, and our goal as writers always is to get better. I hope the books I'm doing now are better than what I was writing 10 years ago, because the idea is to, improve. So I would really encourage people who are wanting to get into writing to do a lot of research into how that all works. Read from the experts, read your favorite authors, and try and analyze what they're doing that works in their books.
Now let's switch gears a little bit. We've been talking about books set in the beach. So let's talk about books that we love to read. What have you read that you want to share with others? What's on your summer beach reading list this year that you might want to talk about?
Well, I've been a very busy reader. Part of that is because I like to support my friends. And my friends are very busy writers. It's like most of us are doing a couple books a year. It's like, And I'm going to confess, here I am talking a mystery story. I love mysteries, but I like to watch them on TV. For some reason, it's harder for me to read a mystery than to watch it. I don't know why that is, because like I said, I love mysteries, so I don't know what my problem is. But I do like to do a variety of reading, and I do like to once in a while, a friend just about gave me a mystery to read. It sounds really cute. So I thought again, it's all about knowledge and expanding. And sometimes it's good to read outside your genre. So, and I like to read nonfiction too. So I would actually show and tell here. Let's see if I can hold this up. This is it's about the Uber thing.
Yeah.
It is fascinating reading. Oh my gosh, this is really interesting. I also got, we're right now we're at our California digs with our kids, with our son and his family, but I left at home. I also bought the book on Elon Musk, the Tesla guy. I started out, but that got left at home. But then I've also planning ahead for summer. So let's see, Brenda Novak has a book that's out.
Yes.
Can
I stop you for just a second? Brenda Novak will be at the Poison Pen next week at an event, and we will have signed copies of her new book, Summer on the Island. So if you're listening in and you want to see what Sheila and I are raving about in terms of Brenda's new book, feel free to order it from us.
Oh yes, she is fabulous. She is not only an excellent writer, but she's a lovely person. And I know everybody that meets her just adores her. So there's Brenda. Brianne Thane, who I know you also know, is another good buddy. She's got a book coming out. My buddy Susan Wiggs, it's been a little bit of a while for her, and her big book is coming out this summer, Sugar and Salt.
And it's got a baking theme.
It's got bakers in it. Yeah. But it's also good. Susan is really moving to a new level and dealing with a lot of heavy subjects. And I know there are some racial issues in the book, and there's a big fat, I don't want to say murder. There's a killing. Anyway, it's a really good book. So that's, something people want to keep their eye out on. And of course on Instagram, everybody's always posting this book and that book. And so I thought I'm going to finally get some of these. And I read her first book, Beach Read. I'm reading this one.
Yes. I
Have you
read the
read this
first
one
one.
yet?
I haven't read that one. I read the first one. It was
Okay.
great.
And this is getting a lot of press. The Husbands of.
Yes.
Have you read this one? Yeah.
Mhm.
Is it good? Am I gonna like it?
You will like it, especially if you're a fan of old Hollywood.
I am. I am. I just hope it's not really, really racy. You know me, 50 Shades of White. Oh, good. Okay.
No, I think you'll be okay.
Okay. And this one also, the Paris Apartment. Everybody has been talking about that for forever. So obviously I'm behind on my reading, but if I can do these and then keep up with all my friends who have books coming out this summer, I think Susan Mallory's got a book too.
Yeah.
So golly, they're just, so just keeping reading in my own genre is definitely keeping me busy. But Brenda's book club is reading a book right now too that I want to get. Oh, it was about the period of time when Agatha Christie disappeared.
Yes.
The
Mrs.
Christie
Christie.
files or something.
I think it's just called Mrs. Christie.
Okay. Anyway, I thought I want to get that book to read it too, because that sounds really, really interesting. Agatha Christie fascinates me.
She wasn't such a, I mean, she had this devious mind and she came up with all these clever plots, and yet she was the quintessential kind of British little genteel lady in many ways.
Isn't that interesting? And in her own life, I mean, and again, I haven't read enough of her about her own life, but her own life seems kind of stayed, and so
it was until her first husband left her, and then she kind of she almost had a renaissance or so. I mean, she went to the Middle East, she picked up a younger husband, she discovered an interest in archaeology, and I mean, her life was almost as interesting as her books in many ways.
I think I'm going to have to get an actual big book biography, and
there is one coming in the fall by the woman who does the PBS series, All the Kings and Queens, Lucy Worlsley or something like that.
Okay, I'm definitely getting that book then. I love reading biographies too. I just think that's fascinating, reading about people and what their life was like and how they evolved into who they became. So, I'm definitely going to get that book.
Before we run out of time, what's next for you? I have a feeling it has something to do with the holidays as an author.
Ho, ho, ho. Always a Christmas book coming. Yes, I am just finishing up the finishing touches on a book called The Road to Christmas, about different family members all on a road trip getting to their destination to meet together. And that was great fun too. I'm looking forward to that one coming out. My publisher is giving me a great cover for it. They always give me fabulous covers. So I'm excited about that. So lots of things, and I'll be part of an anthology too that's coming out. So lots of things coming up to celebrate come the holidays. So looking forward to that.
And how can readers find out more about you and your books? Are you on a social media platform? Do you have a website?
I am. I'm on Facebook, Sheila Roberts Writer, I think, or Fun with Sheila, and same with Instagram, Fun with Sheila, and also my website, sheilasplace.com, where there's a great contest going on right now. So it's worth it to just come if you don't want to read my little occasional blogs. The recipes and the contests are always worth a visit.
Well, I can't believe how quickly our time has flown by, Sheila. It's always been a delight having you even virtually at the Poison Pen. I loved Sand Dollar Lane. It's the quintessential summer book. Just lots of humor, some wonderful characters, definitely something you'd want to take to the beach or the lake or the mountain or even your sofa if that's where you're vacationing.
There you go. Well, thank you for the kind words too. I really appreciate it. Yeah, always, I think sometimes you don't really realize how important you are to so many people and what a plum it is. If John Charles likes your book, it's like, oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Well, that's so sweet of you, Sheila. You're a lovely person in and of yourself, and I really do want to thank you for joining us today. I want to thank those tuning in for sharing another recorded author chat with the Poison Pen, and we look forward to seeing you virtually next time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello. We hope you're enjoying our programs and podcasts with authors. We'd like to expand them, and your help would be appreciated. Please make a donation at poisonedpenfoundation.org. 100% of the proceeds will go to help connect authors with readers in this difficult time. Thank you.